Okay, let me get it. I'll stop sharing this one. I'll share the presentation instead. Sorry for that. Okay, that should be it. Okay. Do you all see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
I can go and show the presentation. Good. So welcome again. Today's call is about Safrochain, and I would like to welcome you all for availing yourself in learning about our chain, and also I will be available to answer any question you may have. So if you can start, is that first of all, you know that Safrochain is an Africa first layer blockchain, which we are attempting to involve you in launching to basically get you to contribute through ownership and understanding. But before we do tell you what Safrochain is, we'd like to tell you what is the current status of the blockchain. Many of us have been in the blockchain. I think now I've moved to the second part of the presentation. I hope it's visible. And the current state of the blockchain is that most blockchain are being evaluated as in, yes, Dan?
We are only seeing the first page.
Only the first page?
Yeah.
Strange, because it should be showing the second, and I'm going through the second right now. Okay, in this case, the presentation is not working, but I will go in and stop sharing this one, and then I'll share the current one I have. Now it should be better. Okay?
Yeah.
That should be the second one. Perfect. So as I was saying after the introduction is that currently the status of the blockchain is that most blockchain are evaluated by how much value they hold. So it's popularly known as the total value locked. And once you have that measure, you are actually not allowing yourself to benefit from that value. Once there is value which is locked, meaning it's not available for investment, it's not available for community building, and it does not actually get to be used. That's the current status of the blockchain. There's a lot of value locked in different blockchains. However, when you look into how much is being transactioned, 24 hours, mostly it will be on exchanges. It will be on other internal transactions, such as balancing. You send an amount and then they return to you a certain value. That itself does not empower communities. Now, what we are thinking about is instead to look into what is actually the meaning of economic activity? What is the meaning of participating? And we were looking into different ways to explain it. However, there is already in economics a concept about how much the economy is moving, how much everybody is participating, and that's called the velocity of money. So when you look into that concept is that you have $100, you paid to someone else that $100, he consumes 10, he saves another amount of 90, he pays out the 90 in investments, the 90 gets another $10 saved, another 80 is being consumed, and so on and so forth. And then there is a certain point where that 100 will have been fully consumed plus saved. So which means that velocity of the economy allows to establish how many people actually are being involved within that community. Because if you're not involved in that community, if let's say you are being excluded for some reason, you won't be getting access to that $100. You will potentially just be getting some social payments or some other values, but not the money you may have in nature, but not in terms of money being paid to you. So that proposal will have been in the blockchain, what we are calling the Active Velocity Multiplier, which means is basically an evaluation onto how much is actually being reused within the community? How fast is the value moving? And how many hands have been able to touch that value? How many people were actually participating in the transactions, not the dexes selling, buying, getting a profit. Instead, what services are being bought? Okay, so and how many lives were touched? That will be another way to see it. It's a bit different. It will still have some values locked, like for example, we'll talk about what is the purpose of the SAF token. However, in terms of the overall estimates on how much is being used in the terms of the community, that will be another metric. Instead of the total value locked, the TVL, the AVM will actually be a better assessment. And I would think that Safrochain can push for that and evaluate ourselves on it. What does it do? It basically increases accessibility. That value was locked, it's no longer locked, it's open, it's being used, and that is empowering. We know that through Bitcoin usage, even to this day, when you look into how many wallets are using Bitcoin, a lot of them are African. We know P2P, like in Nigeria, is the one of the most popular country in terms of Bitcoin usage. In terms of P2P, it's already a good step. So we kind of know the blockchain; it's accessible. However, it's only accessible in terms of uh, small transactions, peer to peer. It does not actually allow you to create economic activities beyond the P2P exchange. It does not give you loans. It does not give you investment. It does not give you insurances. So that kind of service goes beyond the P2P. And through the knowledge of Bitcoin, we thought of, yes, going into the blockchain, looking into a layer one, which actually itself facilitates the P2P as well, however, which is also accessible. And out of the many available, we found the Cosmos SDK as to being one of the best candidates. Because through the SDK, Safrochain is able to extend accessibility beyond the P2P. In the Bitcoin space, there are no smart contracts for complex transactions, and also the access to the Bitcoin itself will not be accessible because today, being a validator or a miner on Bitcoin is really resource intensive. You cannot be a miner on Bitcoin. So you can participate, be a consumer of Bitcoin transactions, but you will not own the control of Bitcoin, right? So it's accessible. However, it is beyond our control. So we thought of looking into what the blockchain is, try to get the lowest layer we can find, control, learn, and improve, and adapt it to our need. And the Cosmos SDK was what we found, and that's why we're launching the Safrochain based on it. And don't hesitate to interrupt me if you have any question. So with that in mind, we need a token to secure the network. That's the role of SAF. Basically, SAF, what it does, just like other tokens, native tokens on many blockchain, it does secure the network. It is by design meant to be locked. It is meant to be staked. By paying the fees in SAF, you facilitate the transactions, yes, but fees are always a small amount of transactions. And also the main key usage of the SAF token is to secure the network and also allow you to have a voice through governance. So that's what the Safrochain, the SAF token will be playing a role on. However, the network itself will have other means to be active, other proposal in terms of its value. For example, being Africa first will be mobile first as well. So we know that people in Africa will tend to access the blockchain through their mobile phones. So Safrochain will have aim to be the first to be primarily accessible through a mobile and not so much of a browser extension with a laptop. That's what we'll be doing, as well as aim for real use cases. That's why we show what are the main launching applications on Safrochain, which are meant to empower the communities. Those applications within the ecosystem, as you have already seen them through the testnet already, are, of course, the hub. That's where you get all your key information in terms of activities, the sending, receiving, delegation, and so on and so forth. You have the Explorer, which shows you your transactions and allows you to get an idea as to what blocks contain. And the Safrimba, which is a community crowdfunding and saving scheme, which also is available for testing on Testnet. We've already gotten a few inputs in terms of feedback on what to improve, what to change. A few of you have told us to add more ability to communicate among members so that they can be reminded, and other ways to improve on Testnet. So that feedback has been put into updates, as well as the faucet you've been using to populate to acquire more testnet tokens, and it's also one of the key application available for testnet. Under the hood, the testnet is supported by not only the dApps, but also we have other technical uh, aspects of the chain, which is still only applicable for testnet. We have a, a an estimated uh, contribution of 150 validators. Of course, those validators are going into in and out of availability. So a validator can be online today and not be online tomorrow. So that's what will be the rolling number of validators on testnet. Elements, of course, of the testnet being a Cosmos SDK is that we go through the command Byzantine fault tolerance, which is the consensus model of the Cosmos SDK, which was previously known as Tendermint. And of course, we use the proof of consensus, the proof of stake as a consensus mechanism, given that we are based on delegations. Okay. Okay, yeah, please remind me, ask questions in the chat if you can, so that I can read it. In terms of tokenomics, the SAF token is aimed to have a total allocation of 1 billion. And through that allocation, again, as I said, the key purpose of the SAF token will be to pay fees, then secure the network through your staking, and of course get you a voice through governance, through your governance proposal. And the characters on the testnet, of course, on any network is the validators, who are the ones running the nodes, and the validators, as well as the delegators, you and myself, and anybody else who holds SAF token could be a delegator and then support a validator of their choice. The Safrochain hub is the central point where you get the most information, and also where you get to pass the key transactions that are sought after. So the ecosystem is around sending and receiving funds, swapping tokens through the different ecosystems, bridging across the IBC, as well as handle your delegation and your claim of your rewards, as well as support your voice in governance proposals. We also have the Safrimba dApp, which is a community saving scheme. It is fully on chain. It is a concept that is known in many countries. In Congo, is Kelemba. In French, is Tontine. In some other nations, such as Latin America or elsewhere, it could come under other names. However, the key element about it is that people have a cycle they join, and through that cycle, they have different rounds through which everybody saves an amount, and then through the round they get to be the recipient of the total saving. So if you were to say, for example, $100, and there are 5 of you, then at your time to receive, you'll be getting 500. Why is it important? It's important because you get 100 to be saved every month or every other period. You're not able to save the full 500 at once. And also, if you're to keep the money in your own little house or wallet, due to your needs, you will have consumed it. So a community saving scheme is something people rely on to force themselves into savings, but also get the money at once for a larger project. Beyond the hub and the Safrimba, we have 2 other key elements of the ecosystem, which allow you to track your usage as well as get tokens for testnet. You have, of course, the Explorer, which gives you your transactions, and you can look into the composition of the transaction, as well as the faucet where you get the testnet tokens for you to try those different applications. Of course, on mainnet, faucet will not exist. However, on testnet, it does not hurt to get it installed so that people can try. We have also the need to explain as to why we need transactions on the blockchain and not just holding and speculations, is because to allow the blockchain to have a world usage, you do have to implement solutions. Some of them, for example, is to implement cross-border payments. Of course, we also talked about the mobile money incorporated within the crypto dApp as a first layer, meaning people who have mobile money will be using the blockchain or crypto without actually realizing that they're doing so. It's going to be incorporated. And then we also have the micropayment. With lower fees, you're able to have smaller transactions, smaller denominations. There are places where if you want to send, I will recall a time when we were using Ethereum, you will try to send $5 of value, it will cost you $60 just to send it. So those micropayments are important. Of course, the community savings through Safrimba, and then all other ways to implement local DeFi's based on your needs. Because through the Cosmos SDK, you can create your own native tokens, or through smart contracts, create your tokens as well. And we know that the diaspora is a key client of blockchain application because cross-border payments, family support, smaller denominations, the diaspora kind of benefits of all these offerings. So where are we now today? We are approaching the launch of mainnet. However, we can go over what is the current status of the chain. So we do have a rolling count of 150 validators who have tried or run once at least a validator. Those are people who have experience running a validator on Safrochain. That's a good experience they've acquired, and it's no different than mainnet. So which means the skill sets, the experience will be transferable to mainnet. We do have also parameters we set on testnet, of course, a quick block time, and also an inflation to kind of assess onto how much the tokens are accrued, and those hubs and all the dApps we're planning on launching on mainnet have all gone through testing, not only beta, but even the public. Anybody here can access all these dApps and try them. We also have a roadmap, which is based on a schedule we adopted within the foundation to get to mainnet. We are still towards the schedule as implemented early on, like more than a year ago. We have, of course, gotten this concept and architecture set. The DevNet was run for a few months. We launched the public testnet, which is currently live. We are recruiting the validators. We actually completed that process. If you have not joined the validator call, please reach out, because there's a form to fill, and then you'll be able to express your interest. And then after that, we are going to assess how much airdrop every contributor, being on the Safrochain hub, being as a validator, being an ambassador, how much will be accruing to you, and we will be establishing this, because this, of course, has to be taken out of the total SAF allocation. So which means we can get to mainnet potentially in Q3. So we are going into July, and that is, according to our scheduling, still feasible. Okay, so we can now look into what is coming up. We have an ambassador program. Safrochain, as you know, it is Africa centric for the sake of looking into informal sector economics. However, you can also be an ambassador even if you are outside of Africa. We are still planning, given our strength and connections and network, we are planning on launching in 12 countries at least in Africa, given that we have at least members in these countries who can actually try to run not only a validator, but also a community. If you're not on the African continent, there is no problem. Please reach out. We have the Vietnamese Discord channel. I think we have also the general French Discord channel as well, people who are not in Africa. And myself as well, I am speaking to you. I'm not residing in Africa, so which means I'm already a member who is not in Africa, but I can support one of these. My home country, DRC here. I can support somebody to basically establish a community over there, and then I will be joining as a member. So we also have the need to expand beyond the general dependency. I'm an economist by training. I have a master's degree in economics. So I kind of have an idea as to what limits wealth creation. And one of them, of course, is the current general economic system, which is funded and very much relying on the US dollars for transactions. That has an impact. It's beyond the scope of this presentation. However, I can tell you through Safrochain, we're going to try and see how we can expand beyond the USD token as a stablecoin and launch local token based on needs as well. So how can you get involved? The first of all is to use the network. It doesn't hurt. Like you have the faucet for fake or testnet tokens. You have different application you can try before you launch in your community. You can also set an ambassadorship in your country. So don't hesitate to reach out on the Discord or even on Telegram if you want to establish the ambassadorship in your country. You can not only start and join a circle if you see one of interest. If you have friends around you, please let them try a circle among yourselves. If you're an employee, you work in the informal sector and you know somebody or you know a group that does community saving schemes, reach out to us. If we can tailor it to your needs, please let us know and we can make it similar to what you have in the real world, because this smart contract will give you more confidence than relying on just your own saving wallet. You can always become a validator both on testnet and mainnet, which is one way to not only secure the network, but on mainnet you'll be getting rewards as well, so which is valuable. We again thank you very much for all of you who have been with us on testnet. You have stayed online, you have secured the testnet network. Tens of you have continued to support us, which is good, and we were going to push for mainnet launch as soon as we can through all the means based on the feedback we receive from the community. We are still on track, so it should be good to go. As well as come on Safrochain as the developer. So build on Safrochain. We are launching those smart contracts. We're launching those dApps. We're launching those applications as proof of concepts, but also as anchor dApps. It does not prevent you from coming and launching your own application on Safrochain. It's a free chain, so you can actually come and build your own dApps based on Cosmos smart contracts or any other ways of implementing, creating your own pools. Feel free. Again, some of our validators were able to give more resources without even asking, but you can continue to contribute. And then you can apply to be an ambassador. It does not hurt. You don't need to be in Africa. As long as you have a community, a friends, people who around you know the blockchain, and you see that Safrochain could be a way to change the narrative from that the total value locked into the active velocity multiplier, please do so. I do know that I will benefit from it. I'm participating in other blockchains, but I think Safrochain is actually the one I'll be looking into getting more involved, because I know this one will actually be applicable. It's going to give me real value. So thank you very much. And if you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask right now. Or if you have questions in your own time, you can go around all these websites and links are information point of access. However, don't hesitate to reach out to the team and ask questions on Discord, on Telegram, and for the moment, even right here. Alors, merci beaucoup tout le monde. And if you have a question, speak in French, speak in English, a little bit of Spanish, but yes, so that's it for the presentation, and I'm available for any question you may have. Merci beaucoup. Good, so
Thank you,
the question is
Johnson.
now open, huh?
Yeah.
Perfect. Any question in the chat I will have missed? Let me check the chat.
Nothing. Nothing's really. I think Oliver. Yes, there is a question. Apolline
Um,
Feza.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Just my question is just to the program of ambassador is just for 12 countries.
No, you can be an ambassador in any place in the world you want. The ambassadorship, the same way we are launching the dApps on mainnet, the foundation is pushing to get some ambassadorship in some countries through the foundation. However, each one of us, each one of you is free to create and join as an ambassador. So the application is coming very soon and you'll be able to kind of join as well.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
I think there is no more question.
No more questions? I could have a question of my own. I can have a question as to the experience that everybody has had here. If anybody will be willing to answer, then that's fine. If not, then we'll wait for the next AMA next week, which I plan on hosting every other week. Uh, yes, it's linked to the Safrochain local hubs as well. Yes, the ambassadorship is one aspect of being involved. The hubs, you may not have hubs everywhere. However, you can have an ambassador everywhere because the ambassador can even be online, whereas the hubs are more physical. So if you're an ambassador and you do not have a physical location, don't worry, you can still apply. You can still be an ambassador on Twitter, you can be an ambassador on Telegram, you can be an ambassador on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Yes, so you can get involved without being able to have the ability to join a physical hub. So my question before that was to know, based on your own experiences, as I was telling the team as well, is that we know that different blockchains, there are thousands of blockchains, and some of us who are here will have been experienced with other blockchain, and we have heard about the value proposition of Safra chain. Does that resonate with you? Do you feel like it's actually something that will add value for you? Right? So you kind of can tell us onto how much you see uh, that the offer of Safra chain will be positive for you. Like how much do you use it, and how many blockchains have you tried so far, and how much is the proposal of Safra chain make sense for you? Yes, the dApps will be available in OSAM. The dApps will be online. They're basically based on the internet. You have an internet access, you should be able to access all the dApps. And as we said, today, as we speak, they are still very much desktop heavy. However, the dev team is working hard to get them to be mobile friendly and mobile first, so that all these dApps we have experienced, all these dApps we have tested, now we can go in with people who are less familiar with the blockchain to use them on mobile. Because for us who are kind of tech savvy, using a laptop is not an issue. We kind of use them on other blockchain anyway. However, if you want to go and get people to join a circle in a rural area, in a small city, you won't be expecting them to have laptops. So that's why Safrimba and Adapts will also be mobile based.
Yes, Oliver. Um, there was a hand. Is it? It was Rishi. Yes, Oliver. You can speak.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear Richie.
Yeah, I have a question. My first question is about Safrimba and Safrochain. I don't know if there are another specific things about Safrochain, a part of Safrimba. The second question is, but I don't know if out of the game, but if I analyze very well the Safrimba, I don't know the very well benefit for member who contribute his money in the last of also the end of the end of the cycle. Thank you.
Yes. Good question, Richie. First of all, there are few dApps, given that we are the one who are trying to launch those dApps, the Safrochain supported dApps. So Safrimba will be one of them. However, given that people have used Testnet, by the time we launch mainnet, many of our validators, many of our moderators could have dApps of their own. I already have another dApp that is called Equival. It's based on Cardano, which I plan on refactoring for Safrochain and therefore the network of Cosmos. I know other members also here, given our experiences on other chain, they may also have dApps they're going to basically refactor for Safrochain. So you're going to see more than a few dApps on Safrochain on mainnet launch. Another question you asked is that what is the benefit of Safrimba? In addition to having the smart contract of you not relying on the usual, it's a treasurer. Usually in the real world is that you give the money to a trusted person, usually in Africa, mostly women, and then they will have them that in their own houses. They will have that amount saved. And then the danger is that, of course, that money can be stolen. That money can basically be wet. It can basically be corrupted in terms of physical conditions. The bill can be burned, the bill can be torn apart. So that money could be lost. It does not happen frequently. Another risk, of course, is that the treasurer can run with the money. It happens a few times. So, but with the Safrimba, we are making that a smart contract based. So, which means the real value in terms of the token availability currently will still be residing with the treasurer, yes, until Safrimba becomes like a financial institution which we can hold, offer escrow, physical escrow services. Meanwhile, we're going to be able to allow members to know how much they contributed and how much they're able to retrieve. That is the first benefit, is the ability to track it on your mobile phone and not wait to go and visit the treasurer to read the accounting books, right? Another benefit, of course, like any other blockchain or digital offering, is that we're able to assess benefits in terms of fees. So if you have a late contributor, he pays or she pays another extra $10. If you have been very disciplined, that $10, you will benefit from it, because once they have a late penalty fee, once they have another penalty they are paying, is going to be put into the pot. That pot will be divided among all members, meaning those who have been disciplined will have a benefit of being disciplined. And that's what usually happens in the real world, is that those crowdfunding schemes, some people delay the contributions, somebody else could not contribute. However, through the smart contract, regardless of when you contribute, either you do it or you pay a penalty. Because through that smart contract, you will not have access to your funds unless you, of course, you contribute more, and people will be benefiting more than that. So in addition to allowing you to save, remember you have $100, but you want to save 1,000. If you're to keep that 100 every month yourself in your house, you can make it, but you can also be tempted to consume it. So that's first the benefit of the crowd saving. You were not tempted, you pay slowly, you continue to pay the same amount, and ultimately when you get the 1,000, if you were disciplined, instead of 1,000 you're expecting, you can get maybe $1,020. That 20 extra can go a long way towards making you having a good night that day. So that's one of the benefits. And the benefit of, of course, launching Safrimba on a blockchain application is that over time, all those tokens, all those denominations you have created through your circles could potentially be a digital currency that you use in your city. Okay, over time, over a certain time, you will be familiar with those tokens. Yes, Safrimba in local communities today will be based on the real world, Olivier. So which means currently what we'll be doing for you to use Safrimba is that once you start a circle, you will still be saving it in your local treasurer's account. They will still be having hard cash in a small purse, in a small suitcase. However, the difference is that once you give the treasurer that hard cash, $100, they will give you tokens that represent the $100 you gave. So there is no way tomorrow they may say that Olivier did not contribute. However, once you go and it's your turn to redeem, you are now the recipient of the Safrimba Circle disbursement. You can take your 100 tokens and go to the treasurer, and they will give you back $100. So you see the benefit of having it on the blockchain. And then, as I was saying, in the future, when Safrimba now becomes a larger entity, it can go in and start issuing those tokens on behalf of the community. And then you can redeem not only in your home city or in your local circle, but once the tokens are shared, you can actually even go across borders. Why not? You can be in Congo, you contribute to a circle, you have your funding to redeem, you want to go in, instead of receiving the money in Congo, you can receive it in Kenya, you can receive it in Ghana through base, because it's your savings, right? Yeah. So it can also be done over time. And if you work today, let's say you're an employee, and you have a group of friends, and you kind of think that, yeah, I kind of understand this Safrimba concept. We can support you to establish it. We can tell you what are the benefits as an employee. Many people in developing countries have problem savings because they're not banked. They do not have banks. However, through Safrimba, we can basically start gaining you more trust within the group. You can even sometimes create a circle in the city of Goma or in another place, and you'll be able to get, as Apolline was asking, can you join a circle? Yes, you can. So which means once those circles are public, some people may even join a circle only because of the detail you gave them, like joining a WhatsApp group. They will say, oh, you know what? I want to join. Today, it's not feasible in the real world because they don't even know that you want to start. But I know many people who want to start a circle, but they don't know how many are going to join them. They are not connected. They do not have many friends. Sometimes even they are not able to know who is able to contribute. However, through the blockchain, through the internet, you can post a circle publicly with your parameters, and those who are willing to join, they can contact you to Telegram, WhatsApp, and then you guys are going to form the circle based on your needs. That's also one of the benefits of the online publishing of circles. Some of them can also be private. Those ones will not be visible. Those ones can be organized by an employer. Those ones can be organized by people who already know each other. But the public ones, yes, you can join a public circle if it's public. Any other question? If not, then back to who is the moderator today? Was it myself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do have a hand
Question from Innocent.
Innocent. Yeah.
Thank you again for the floor giving the organizer. So my question is not for you, but it's for the community. I am trying to ask to them if doing tasks on air flights are easy to them, because to me, some tasks who seem simple are very difficult to me. For example, when I try to send stuff, they just come back with a message. Oh, let me express myself in French. It will be more easy.
C'est mieux.
Yeah.
Right.
Quand j'essaie de faire les tâches ici sur Airflight, même si mon wallet était déjà lié, ça revient toujours avec un message. Comme maintenant là, on me dit, ça vient d'accepter pour la première fois, mais ça avait déjà refusé pendant 14 reprises.
On te donne la chance, c'est ce qu'on appelle des porte-bonheur. Mais dans ce cas-là, Innocent, même si ça ne fonctionne pas, n'hésite pas.
Oui.
Sur Discord, il y a toujours la possibilité d'envoyer un ticket. il y a le testnet feedback, tu peux envoyer le message, tu mets un screenshot, quelqu'un va te contacter et on va te dire comment est-ce que tu peux le résoudre. Mais aussi, nous sommes sur Testnet. Donc, c'est que de tels feedbacks, c'est justement ce que nous sommes en train de chercher avant de lancer mainnet. On sait qu'il y a encore des petits problèmes ici et là, mais nous sommes en train de les fixer pour mainnet. Donc, n'hésite pas à envoyer des messages dans Discord si tu es membre sur Discord. Et là, tu auras la réponse potentiellement dans moins de 24 heures.
Janti, can you come again in English maybe, because we do have some
Yes.
people.
So Innocent was asking about users' experience on using the hub. That he was basically saying that some transactions are easy, but some other ones that would have been easy are also hard because they are not going through. So he had given an example is to even when he tries to send a transaction, which is relatively simple among the tasks, sometimes he will get an error. And then I was telling him that, yes, but when he was speaking, he told us that actually this time it worked. But I told him, like, regardless of whether it worked or not today, if you face any issue, don't hesitate to write it on Discord. If you all are members of Discord, there's the testnet feedback where you can post a screenshot with your error and messages, and then a DevTech member will try to answer it as soon as possible, which is usually happens within the 24 hours since you're posting. Another, of course, element of the hub is that tasks are easy, but for mainnet, they will be more and more complex because the tasking on mainnet will be also towards recruiting developers, getting bounties out, and involving the community into building, which of course offers rewards as well in terms of airdrop. So yes, don't hesitate to ask on Discord, and we'll be always ready to answer your questions.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Janti. We still have, I think, almost 15 minutes. So if you do have any question, feel free to ask. This is the purpose of the call. So we are still here. Any question? And again, we do have people here speak French. So if you have a question and you want to explain it in French, we are still here to listen, and we can translate after. And again, if you don't want to speak, you can drop a question in the chat. So yeah. By the way, we are almost at the end. So if there is no other question, we are still available, and we have a good community in Discord, as Janti was saying. Yes, Oliver?
Yeah, thank you. I think this is not a question, just to remind people that there is case related to participation in Safrochain code, so they have to take screenshot in order to complete it. But also I saw some quests of writing blogs, so we have a Safrochain forum, so they can go there. It's a good place to write a blog and post it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Oliver, for the add-on. Let me just drop the link of the forum in the chat. So feel free to post any article or even question, anything. So that's why we do have those platforms. So if you have any question, or if you want to explain yourself, or you want to talk about the experience in the testnet of Safrochain, you can just post an article or a blog in our forum. We do have now one, and you can find it in the let me cut the mic off. Okay, yeah, you can find the link in the chat. Feel free to create an account, and it doesn't take long. You can use Google to create an account, and you can post anything. And yeah, as I was saying, we are almost at the end of the call. If you do have any other question, feel free to reach out in Discord, even in Telegram. You can see some people were asking, and they had few issues to complete some tasks. So you can just drop the question in Discord or in Telegram, and we'll be happy to really answer and help you to complete your task. And don't forget to continue working on Quest because it's one of the best way to get airdrop in mainnet, as you may know. Feel free if you have any issue, as Innocent was saying, drop the screenshot or ask a question, or even if you need, for example, a test token, you just ask. We'll send you. Even if you want, for example, USDC, Testnet, you want to swap and do any task, feel free to reach out. Thank you very much. If there is no other question, we are at the end of this call. See you next time.